Hello, and welcome to the Community IT Innovators Technology Topics Podcast, where we discuss nonprofit technology, cybersecurity, tech project implementation, strategic planning, and nonprofit IT careers. Find us at communityit.com.
Hello, my name is Carolyn, and I am interviewing today William Maxwell, who is at Community IT. And William, would you like to introduce yourself and how long you've been at Community IT?
Oh, well, my name is William. I've been at Community IT for almost 22 years. It'll be 22 years in February.
What is your job title?
I think I'm a senior engineer. I've been just about everything, so it's whatever they decide to call me now.
What are your responsibilities?
A lot of things. I'm mainly on the advanced support engineering team. So that means I do a little bit of scheduled support, a little bit of escalation, which is when we have when problems are hard, when they're hard, difficult, or time consuming.
So do you have a typical day? What happens on a typical day?
No, I don't really have a typical day, but I do have clients I'm responsible for. So I usually check in and work on some of their issues. And it's usually like I have a good number of what we call co-managed IT, where our clients have their own IT department, and we're just helping them help support their own staff. So it's usually escalated stuff from them as well. Like, oh, I looked at this. It took I thought it was this, but that didn't work. Can you take a look? And I was like, oh, okay, no problem.
So you're like reinforcements. They bring in
Yes,
additional resources.
Exactly. Reinforcements.
What's the best thing about your job at Community IT?
I like the clients. I love working with nonprofits. It makes me feel, helps me sleep at night when I know that the work I'm doing is helping is indirectly helping the homeless get homes, or law and policy being made for children's rights. Like, I just love our diverse set of clients that we work with, and be able to support them so they don't have to think about the technology. They can think about their mission.
What's something about your job that we probably don't know about what a senior engineer does?
Oh, I mean,
or some skill that you have that a senior engineer needs that you wouldn't have thought.
A lot of it is being able to learn new stuff, just learning new stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of planning involved, but usually I'll get something that's like, well, can you take a look at this? And it's something I've never looked at before. I was like, okay. And then be able to dive in and be able to figure out what your client or my coworkers or my colleagues need, and just figure it out. Get the job. There's a good bit of getting the job done, technically wise anyway.
Well, because it sounds like if it gets escalated to you, it's already a pretty complicated, maybe unusual problem.
But I also occasionally get new stuff tossed, like, oh, well, this client was interested in this thing for their SQL database. And like, I don't know anything about database, but I'll see what I can do. And it's usually, that's when I pull out my Scotty or my Star Trek Scotty hat, and it's like, I don't know if I could do it, but then I figure something out and save the day. Because Scotty, LaForge, any of those great engineers from Star Trek.
That's right. I get a sense you might be a Trekkie.
Oh, maybe.
I'm going to take you back in time. You said it's almost 22 years.
Yep.
Do you remember when you applied to Community IT and what it was about Community IT that made you want to apply and made you accept the job?
Honestly, it was an IT job. At the time, I had just graduated from miscellaneous trade school C, and I was looking for an IT job. And the first couple of jobs was like phone support, or it was phone support and then cable install tech. So I was like, oh, but then my brother's friend was like, hey, I work for an IT company. We're looking for good people. And he kept encouraging me to apply till I did. Like, oh, maybe I get an actual IT job I get. And it's one of those fell in love after like, oh, y'all do what? Really? Oh, I didn't know these things existed.
So that's why you applied. Do you have any insight into what it was about you that made you a good fit for community IT? Like from the other side, why did they hire you?
I have no idea. I think there's a little bit of a je ne sais quoi or something about it that is like, I think he'll work, but I also feel like the technical part was there, and like knowing that they do certain work with nonprofits, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. I like it better than my current job. So I can't really say what people saw in me, but I was excited to be there. I think I liked the size of the company a little bit better, and I think I liked that aspect of it. It kind of felt like it was a smaller bunch of people doing IT. See what happens.
Well, and it sounds like right from the start, it was clearly going to be more challenging and intellectually challenging than some of the other jobs you were
Oh
looking
yeah,
at in
there
tech.
was there was
And
less bureau there was less red tape. I think the job I had before it, the I don't know, whoever was in charge was not interested in anything else about me other than don't mess up. And I felt a difference just going into the interview, that it was more than just, this is not just a job. These are not just people. These are people we're going to hang out, work with closely. So they need to be actual nice people. So I saw some attention to detail. I feel like there was some attention to that and that was 20 years ago. That must have been Dave Deal.
uh-huh,
He saw something.
must be. So my next question is, that was 22 years ago.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about what it is about community IT that has kept you uh, here?
Mm. Well, it's the same reason why I like here. Being here is like we're supporting nonprofits, and it's not just that alone, because you also have a bunch of other great people that are here for the same reason. Like they want to support nonprofits. So to be able to support nonprofits with people that want to support nonprofits that are great people all by themselves, like we're the geeky parts, we're the not geeky parts, we have a whole everything, and we can just come together, support each other, and have fun together while we do our work. So and it's how I would like a consulting company to be, is like no one's hoarding information, everyone's willing to share, teach, and grow, because we're trying to help our clients at the end of the day, not ourselves. So that's why I'm still here. Like I get to help the people with the people.
I want to kind of go back to that question of for technology jobs, there's a lot of emphasis on certifications and maybe some coursework. If you were talking to yourself, back in high school, college, about the kind of career you have now, where you sound very satisfied and happy with what you do, are there any things that you would tell, a high school person or college person today that would help them get ready for a job like community IT, or maybe help them consider work in nonprofit technology instead of going off to like a huge company that does technology at a huge scale?
It's just knowing, I would like to know a little bit more about how nonprofits work. Like the technology will come if you have a technically, like you can learn the methods and the steps to learn things. You can get comfortable with technology, but knowing the how to talk to and communicate with nonprofits may be, and like just even if it's a minor in nonprofit management, or just doing an internship at a nonprofit organization, so you know how they do things, that will help immensely in a nonprofit IT career. Just knowing that's like, it's not the same. We don't have endless budgets, and being able to be adaptable and flexible with your solutions.
So my next question is that, tech support has a lot of stereotypes. Are there some stereotypes that are fair, some that are unfair? Is there something that makes someone good at providing tech support that might not be a personality trait we might necessarily associate with tech support?
For the most part, I feel like there's patience is needed and being flexible, but a lot of that is tech support in general. I think to be honest, you need that. That's some of the stuff that's played down in tech support. Like a lot of times the stereotype is more technical, less support. And I think for the nonprofits, it needs to be more support, less technical, or at least you can be as technical as you want, but make sure the customer support part is good, really good.
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
you got to have all that stuff you need to be patient, being able to adapt to a solution as you need, especially with nonprofits and the budget. They don't always have, they may not have be able to afford the most expensive fix or even the proper fix. So there's the fix and the one that works, what works. So being able to settle in yourself that that's okay. Like, okay, this is what works for their budget point, and not be locked into, but the expensive thing, this will do the trick. It'll be perfect. Oh, one other thing. Do not be too worried if they don't listen to your recommendations.
Yeah.
Be able to
Why
get
is
over
that?
because they have a budget and they have so many things going on. As long as you are solid in your recommendations and you believe it, if they don't listen to you, you have to be able to get over that too, because it may come back around later, it may not, because sometimes it doesn't fit and they don't always tell you. And I think that's more of a consulting tip than if you're on IT staff. But like if I made a recommendation for them to replace something, they're like, oh, we can't afford to do it right now. But I know they really need to do it right now. It's like, but nothing I can do with it. You can't spend what you don't have. And when the time comes and that server needs to replace later, like it'll get replaced eventually.
Yeah. That sounds like a good life skill as well, to be able to take it when someone doesn't take your advice.
Yeah. I would agree.
What would you, that kind of leads to my next question, which is, you sound very satisfied in your job and your position. If you knew someone who is working in technology and maybe isn't getting a lot of support or isn't at a place that is a good fit for what they want to be doing or where they want their career to go, do you have any advice on where they can go for support?
I guess for that, there's a few resources, but I think the important thing is to know why you're working there. Why are you working in the field? Like, because where you want to go next is could be anywhere. I mean, there's just like there's a bunch of different commercial companies, there's still a bunch of different nonprofit companies. Some are more family oriented, like everybody's family, and you have a more relaxing environment. Others are more corporate, like they'll feel just like a for-profit company. You're like, wait, where did I work now? So knowing why you're in the field, what areas, I think something that you might find helpful is what areas of nonprofit do you like? Because there's fields, do you like creating law and policy and it's more like Congress adjacent, or do you like the direct service organizations that are helping people directly, or somewhere in between? There's some community-based organizations, and knowing what you like to help, or if you have your own passion to help out, look for places like that will support you in that area, because technology support people are always needed somewhere.
I feel like in my own experience in nonprofits, and I'm sure you've seen this at clients and through your career, you often run into people they used to call the accidental techie,
Oh yeah,
of the people who kind
hired a
of
few
fall
of
into
those.
a technology role and maybe don't, maybe have a little aptitude or maybe don't have any aptitude at all. Like they're not really technology oriented people, but for some reason they have this role. And often, as we were talking about, nonprofits have difficulty prioritizing budget and staff for IT. So do you have any advice for people like that have kind of fallen into a technology role at a nonprofit? Of course, they can always call us.
I think first and foremost, figure out if this is something you like or want to keep doing. I think once you know, if you're an accidental techie, but you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize I love this. And then you can go to some of the other parts and try to find more resources to learn more and keep in touch. And maybe depending on where you're working, they may support you learning more to help with the technology. But yeah, if you want to do it, then yeah, there's places like TechSoup. I think that's still what they're calling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That have lots of resources for nonprofit technology people in whatever location they are. And I know we've got a few resources on our website to help figure out things, but just knowing just pursue, I like you in my opinion, it's more about wanting to be in nonprofit technology than the certifications and the degrees. As long as you have the heart into it, then everything else will work itself out and you can find yourself a good technology job without having to spend a lot of money to look like you can get a good technology job.
I love that. I love that. So you've been at Community IT for almost 22 years. When people ask you what you do, what do you say? How do you describe what your job is?
The quick and easy happy hour one would be operational IT. And when I still get the confusing looks, I say it's the stuff you don't worry about until it's broken. And that pretty much gives okay. Because I find in DC, there's still a lot of who are you and what can you do for me? And I was like, that's not usually why I'm there. And that's like, once they figure it out, oh, okay, cool. And they move on to whatever. They just want to see if I'm help them with their web pages.
Right.
But no, I think that's a good one for family and other people. Like they're trying to figure out what kind of IT, what's IT. Because I think we've run into this a lot too, is there's a lot of things that get categorized as IT now. Anything from app developers to like web programmers and
digital
all that.
media.
Like, sometimes your job gets classified as technology. And it's so sometimes hard for people to figure out what you do, but no matter what you do, you probably always get called to help somebody fix their computer. It's like, oh, you're in computers, right?
Yep. William, thank you so much for talking with me today. This was just, it was wonderful to talk to you.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Community IT does these free webinars and podcasts for our community, and we love sharing our knowledge and experience. If you have more questions or are having trouble with your IT at your nonprofit, please get in touch with us on our website, www.communityit.com, so we can start a conversation or schedule an assessment. Downloading any of our free resources there will get you signed up for our webinar reminders, and you can attend our next webinar in real time and ask our experts your own questions. If you love podcasts, please subscribe and leave us a rating to help others find this leadership resource for nonprofits.